This flip the camera trend that is going viral on TikTok right now is an indicator of three things that I know to be true. It actually reinforces these three things I know to be true. A, no one under the age of 16, I would even argue 18, needs to have access to social media. B, no one under the age of 16, and again, I would argue under the age of 18, needs to have access to a smartphone. And C, show me a child who is a bully, show me a mean child, and I will show you a parent who is nastier, who is meaner, because children are sponges. And nowadays, the type of bullying we are seeing online and in real life is amplified because children are watching their parents get on the internet and act like demons to their peers, to perfect strangers. And like we always say, children are sponges. So if they are watching their parents, the people who are supposed to guide them through life, the people who are supposed to be an example of morals and standards of behavior and manners and ethics, if they are watching their parents behave this way in real life and online, because we're now sharing the same digital spaces as children, there is no separation. We see young children with access to social media nowadays, children being posted on social media as early as the second they are born. But nowadays, there is no separation between adults and children on social media. And we are seeing the same thing bleed into real life as we are seeing the disappearance of third spaces, and not just third spaces, but designated spaces and areas for children and tweens as well as teenagers. So there is no space for children to be children and adults to be adults. Children are now watching adults act like demons on social media. And what are they doing in response? Engaging in the same behavior, repeating the same behavior. So again, we can blame so much of this stuff on children, but as always, it falls back onto the parents, and the parents are no longer parenting. Let's get into it. Aloha, beautiful humans. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome back if we've unlocked in. My name is Sasha, and today we are talking about the viral, disrespectful, and straight up bullying flip the camera trend that we are seeing, or at least that I am seeing all over TikTok, and how I feel it is an indicator again of the fact that children do not need social media, they do not need smartphones, but the ways in which the bullying is getting out of control nowadays. And parents, in my personal opinion, bear the majority of the blame and the responsibility for the ways we are seeing children behave now and this type of bullying that we are seeing online. If you're not on these streets, or you're not on TikTok or chronically online like myself, although I don't think I'm chronically online so much as I am a digital anthropologist. I be knowing things. But anyways, the trend online, it's actually not something new. It was a trend that started, I want to say, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago at this point, where you're taking a phone and essentially you're holding up the phone and the person doesn't know that they are recording their face. So they think they are recording you, but they're actually recording your face. And so you are seeing their face in the camera, not whatever it is behind the camera that they think they are recording. And the trend from a year ago or 2 years ago, it was really wholesome. It was really sweet. I remember seeing like little kids recording their parents, and you just see the kids looking at their parents with admiration in their eyes. They're dancing behind the camera, or you see a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, a mom, a dad, a sister or a brother. You know, it was very sweet. It was very wholesome. I actually remember that trend. It fast forward to today, it has morphed into something completely different, where you see mostly teenagers and middle school children filming their peers, or not just filming their peers, filming adults. There was a video, I'm going to post a little video compilation here so you get a sense of what the trend has morphed into now, essentially bullying unsuspecting, unknowing strangers who did not consent, who did not sign up to have their images blasted to millions of people for the sole and express purpose of bullying that person for their appearance. And that's what's frustrated me so much about this trend. I don't know why and how we have become so comfortable as a society recording strangers in public and then posting it on the internet without their consent. Now, yes, I know when we are in public, there is no expectation of privacy. I totally get that if we're in general public spaces. However, the ways in which people just casually and comfortably record people and blast them onto the internet is so crazy to me, because we know the way the internet operates. It is a mob mentality where whoever gets their story out first is the one who is seen as the victim, and people will take it upon themselves to go out and locate the offender and then bully them and flood their comments and social media with hate, try to get them fired from their jobs, call up their family, call up their friends. Like, the mob mentality of social media has just been very disturbing to witness. And it's something that, as my platform grows, I have seen so many content creators and influencers, the same people who will build them up will be the same people who are eagerly and excitedly waiting to tear them down. And so I hate that as a society, we have become way too comfortable recording people without their consent and posting it on social media, especially under the guise of content. People are not your content. This is why I hate so much these street interviews. Like, if I see anybody standing on the street and they have a microphone and they're coming at me, immediately about face, immediate 180. I'm crossing the street. I'm doing something. I don't want to be in your little TikTok. I don't want to be in your video. I don't need you editing me and chopping it up however way you want, or trying to make me look like a dumbass. Like, immediately no. In fact, I was interviewed by my local news a little bit before the election. I think it was in October. I actually forgot about it. But anyways, I was interviewed. I was walking in Georgetown. I was going to go get lunch, and I see this woman on the street. I will actually post the interview here if I can find it. But anyways, I'm walking on the street and I see the interviewer, the news reporter, standing there, and she's stopping people and asking them if they want to say things, and they're just paying her dust. And as someone who has been in a role like that, people ignoring you or just being disrespectful to you, because they can say no. I don't think there's anything wrong with politely declining. But when people are rude or disrespectful, I hate that. So those people who will like take donations like UNICEF or any of these nature conservatory or environmental groups or any groups where you're standing on the street, I may not want to talk to you, but I'm never rude or disrespectful, because I've been in that position where I've been stumping, I've been on the streets, and people are just like rude to me. So I'm never going to give you rude energy. I'll say I'll decline, but I'm never going to be rude about it. So it always bothers me when people are needlessly rude to these people. But anyways, I'm seeing the interviewer. People are passing her by, telling her no, 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 no. So her and I lock eyes. I see her, she sees me, and I'm looking at her and she's looking at me. And I'm getting closer and I'm like, all right, Sasha, how are we going to get out of this? And she was like, please, like, no one is stopping. You look like a really nice person. I just want to ask you some questions about the election and what's important to you. Please just do this interview. I have had 25 people turn me down. And I was like, all right, girl. All right, let me do it. So like I said, I'm soft. You put up a GoFundMe, I'm donating. I see that you're in need, I'm a give. Like, I'm easy in that way. I'm easy in that way. But anyways, when it comes to like these TikTokers and these YouTubers and, you know, these people who are doing these pranks, I hate that type of content. It is the most low vibrational content in my personal opinion, but it's what gets clicks. It's easy to grow a platform off of. And as people, a lot of people enjoy public humiliation. And I think that is honestly why this trend is going so viral in this way, because a lot of people, the way we use social media, it's extremely dysfunctional. And we have normalized such a degree of dysfunction on social media that I don't think a lot of people are stopping and reflecting on how weird their behavior is. Because if they try to behave this way in real life, most people, at least people who I'd honestly say most millennials, would check you, most millennials and older, because we existed, well, I want to say older millennials. We existed in a time before chronically being online where this behavior was normalized. So I feel like a lot of older millennials would be like, that is weird, immediately know, what the hell are you doing? We would check that behavior very quickly. But younger millennials, Gen Z, and definitely Gen Alpha, they don't know a world before social media. They don't know a world before this dysfunctional ass behavior became normalized on the internet. And now people are trying to replicate, I won't even say are trying to, they are behaving this way in real life, and it absolutely has real life consequences. They have not experienced those consequences because, like I said, I forget which video I recently did talking about this, but there was a time in which you were very mindful about the things you said because you know you could get punched in the face. You would have to back it up. Maybe not like physically punched in the face, but somebody would check you. They'd be like, what did you say? There would be consequences for what you said. So you had to be very careful and intentional about the words that come out of your mouth. We are no longer living in that era. Screens make people feel very safe, make people feel very comfortable, too comfortable saying things on the internet behind a screen. They sit there and they like type with their little fingers, tippity type, that they would never say to anyone's face. And that behavior has become so normalized because people are not, there is no accountability on the internet. You know, people will talk about, oh, cancel culture. There is no such thing as cancel culture, especially nowadays. Hell, you try to hold someone accountable for terrible behavior, they got a fan base waiting for them. There is no accountability on the internet. So when people like whine about cancel culture, I'm like, what are you talking about? There is no such thing as accountability on the internet, and there's no such thing as cancel culture. But anyways, going back to this trend, it is being predominantly done by, like I said, teenagers, people in high school, people in middle school. And they're not just confining this bullying to their peers. They're taking this out to the streets, taking it to the streets. They're taking their bullying out into the streets and recording grown adults. And what is disgusting and what is sad about this is these people are unsuspecting. They didn't consent to any of this. Not everybody is chronically online, so not everybody is aware of all of these trends. Most people are just probably trying to help. They think it's harmless. They don't know that they're being filmed. And that's just so reprehensible to me, to be making fun of these people. And I'm wondering, as I'm looking at these kids, the vast majority of them look to be under the age of 16, under the age of 18. Why does your child have a smartphone at this age? Why does your child have access to social media, specifically TikTok? It is so weird to me how, it's not weird, it's crazy to me that so many parents have ceded their power, their authority to gadgets, to smartphones, to apps. They are letting social media and these smartphones raise their children, influence their children in the most negative ways, when the people who create this technology, who create this software, who create these apps, who create these phones, they don't even allow their children to have access to this technology. If the people who are building it don't even allow their children to have access to it, what does that tell you? Like, who is parenting? Who is doing the parenting? I'm child free. So people are probably just going to be like, shut the F up. You don't know how hard it is. People are going to drop down in the comments and leave every single excuse under the sun. I work. I don't want them to be bullied for not having an Instagram. I don't want them to be bullied for not having a TikTok. So you're basically raising a follower? You're raising a child who doesn't have a brain. You're raising a child who's going to be more concerned with the opinions of their peers rather than raising somebody who is an individual who can stand on their own, who doesn't need to be constantly overstimulated by smartphone use. Like, that's what you're raising? It's weird. And also, I think it's weird to me also to see this happening because there are people in my life who I know who have children who are in middle school, who are in high school, who are in elementary school, and they don't have access to these smartphones. They don't have access to any of these social media platforms. My 12-year-old niece, this summer when we visited, she was telling me she was a little bit frustrated because she's the only one of her friends who doesn't have a cell phone. She doesn't have a smartphone. She has an Apple Watch and she has apps on it through her mom's phone. So my sister-in-law, she has access to my niece's phone. She has access to everything. So my niece is able to text her little friends on her Apple Watch, but she doesn't have a phone. And I was like, you know what, baby girl, I understand that it may make you feel this way right now, but your mom, your dad, they are doing you such a huge benefit. And I love that girl. Like, she is so independent. I watched her transform, especially like last year was really hard for her. Like, her first year of middle school was really hard. But this year has been a different year. It's been a different transformation as I'm talking to her, and she's becoming more independent, and she is just like, she doesn't feel as compelled to follow the crowd. There is a book that I will always recommend, The Collapse of Parenting, and also The Anxious Generation. These are two books I highly recommend all parents read, especially if you have a teenager or a tweenager or an elementary school age child and you are thinking about giving them a smartphone. You are doing your child a huge disservice. I need every parent to read both of these books. Again, The Collapse of Parenting and The Anxious Generation. But anyways, I see the difference between my friends who allow their children, well, none of my friends actually allow their children to have smartphones. So I guess I would say, when I talk to my friends who are teachers, they can absolutely always tell the kids who are like smartphone kids, the kids who have access to technology, the iPad kids. And I've seen these kids and they are effing terrifying. I can't stand being around them. They give me anxiety because not anxiety is dramatic. I just don't like being around them. They're fidgety. They don't know how to sit still. They often lack manners. Now, again, there's nothing that is not their own doing. Their brains are being hijacked at a very malleable time in their lives. And it's not their fault, though. It's the fault of their parents. And what is concerning to me with this access to social media and smartphones, the way it is hijacking children's brains, it is destroying their impulse control and it is destroying their empathy. Bullies have always existed. I was bullied in middle school. I wasn't bullied in elementary school. I was bullied in middle school and I was bullied only my freshman year of high school. And then I nipped that in the bud real quick, made that boy cry, asserted my dominance. And nobody ever messed with me again after that. But middle school, I was bullied. And it didn't really leave a lasting impact on me because as an adult, I understand that a lot of kids, they are just going to bully you because of whatever is going on in their own lives. They are, feel low about themselves and they're trying to impress their peers. Maybe something is going on at home. I understand the motives behind looking back on it. The people who bullied me, it had nothing to do with me and everything to do with them. One of them actually reached out to me on Facebook a few years ago. Didn't really apologize, but was like, "Oh, you're cute. And if I ever made you feel any type of way during middle school, let's meet up and talk it over." And I was like, "Are you asking me out on a date, you corny ass?" Sorry. I was like, how corny? How corny? You made my middle school experience a living hell. And 10 years later, you see I'm cute. I mean, I've always been cute. But 10 years later, you look me up on Facebook, find me, and you don't even apologize for bullying me? Boy, anyways. So bullying has always existed, but it was confined to that 7 a.m. to 3:30 period. I could leave it behind when I came home. I could leave it behind on the weekends. Bullying nowadays, however, because so much of it is happening online, there's no escaping it. And even if you don't have access to social media, people can be making accounts of you, spreading around misinformation, not too far away from me, actually. I think it was in Loudoun County sometime last year, because our laws haven't caught up to bullying and also revenge, PORN. There was a boy who asked this girl out. She said no. And he superimposed her face onto midnight ballerinas, ladies of the night, if you will. Read between the lines here. I'm not trying to have them, not demonetize this video for explicit content. Okay, so read it between the lines. But anyways, this boy superimposed her face onto these midnight ballerinas and women of the night and professional dancers and who dance without clothes on and spread it around to their peers, spread it around to the high school. And when she found out, her parents naturally went to the police and they were said that there was nothing they could do about it because it's not her body. But with the way AI is developing, how do you know? It's terrifying. I think he got suspended, but I don't think he got charged with anything. This is the time that we are living in now. This internet bullying, not only is it amplified by social media, those 2 years I was bullied, it stayed at 2 years. There was no footprint of it. When you are recording people and bullying them and putting it out for billions to see, not only are you unable to control it once it's out there, you can't unring a bell, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So you are bullied this one time, it goes viral, or it becomes a meme, or it is spread to billions of people. Billions of people have access to watching you be abused, to be harassed, to be bullied, and it can carry with you for the rest of your life because the internet is forever. These children, their brains are not developed enough to understand the consequences of their actions, but especially the long-term lingering effects of their actions. So because they can't understand it, it is their parents who have to step in and explain it to them and parent them and raise them with manners and morals. How can their parents do that when their parents are using the same platform to bully other adults, to bully their peers, to bully family members and friends and perfect strangers, to bully people in the comments because everybody's a comedian. Everybody's so funny. The other day I saw a video of this girl. She got engaged and the wedding ring was very unique. I've never seen a wedding ring like that at all. I've never seen it. It is apparently a ring from, I'll put it in the video here if I can pull it up. And it's a 1950s French ring. They're calling it mid-century. I'm like, just say it's from the 1950s. My God. But anyways, it's a very unique ring. I actually, looking at it the second or the third time, I was like, this is really pretty, actually. It's very unique. I'm not wearing it, though. Nobody else but her is wearing it. So if she likes it, if she loves it, what business of it is ours? Hello? But I go to her video And all through the comments, I'm scrolling and I'm seeing people being just fucking rude, just being nasty and rude about an engagement ring that you don't even have to wear. And because there is no space, there is no designation between this is an adult space and this is a child space. Children and their parents are sharing the same e-streets, the same social media e-streets. They're watching other adults bully other adults and sometimes bully other children. During prom season, every year during prom season, you have freaking weirdos who come at the prom dresses of children. You have grown women and men attacking the prom dresses of children, bullying children over their prom dresses. The kids are watching this. And I know somebody's going to be like, they're not children, they're teenagers. No, they are still legally children. They are under the age of 18. That makes them a child. And you see, what's crazy to me is you see so many parents, so many aunties, so many uncles, so many grandparents. Oh, if anybody ever came for me and mine, I'm 10 toes down behind mine. I would go to jail behind mine. Let somebody bully my kid, popping it. But what they draw the line at doing or happening to their own child, their own kin, they comfortably do to somebody else's child. They comfortably do to another stranger. It is so crazy to me. When it comes to these social media trends, they are a reflection of us as a society, and how we respond to them is also a reflection of us as a society. They are a reflection, a digital mirror of our values, our interests, our behaviors, what we find acceptable. And this goes from political movements to consumer habits and individual expression, including art, media. We are living in very dark times right now. When the trend went viral the first time, we were under a completely different administration. The economy was a lot better. People were generally happier. And yeah, there were, serious conversations going on TikTok, but it was a happy place. People was dancing. Fast forward, 2025, this year has been a living hell. Oh my God, this has been one of the worst years for our overall society, our culture, politics, our values, the humanity, how we relate to one another. It has been a nightmare. This year has really been, you get it. This year has sucked. This year has sucked. This year has sucked. I've had many high moments, and I'm excited for more of these high moments as we close out the last 7 weeks of this year, but it has also been a nightmare. And I think that is absolutely reflecting the trends that we are seeing on social media. Not just the trends we are seeing on social media, but the energy and the climate around social media. Social media is very dark. One of my mutuals on TikTok, Jayla Henry, love her page. You've probably seen her family before, her son Braylon, you've probably seen her family before, but she is in the process of building a house. At least she was in the process of building a house. I'm pretty sure the house is complete and she moved into it. And so many people were attacking her, saying, this has been a really hard year for a lot of people. No one wants to see you celebrating your house. No one wants to see you thriving while so many people are struggling. This is tone deaf. Read the room. You're throwing your riches in our face. A year or two ago, yes, you always have people who are pocket watching and who struggle to be happy for others. And so you can't think about people like that. There's always going to be people like that. However, I have noticed the volume and the negativity surrounding people who are happy, surrounding people who are joyous, surrounding people posting certain type of content. There was an influencer, content creator, her son passed away in an unfortunate accident, and she was offline for a few months, obviously to grieve and to get herself together. However, social media is her job, and she had to come back on social media and do her job as an influencer. And people were so nasty to her. Like, I guess your paycheck, nothing ever stops you people from posting how money hungry. If I had just lost my kid, I would never get on the internet again. Oh, all you think about is your money and your aesthetic. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? She just lost a child. Her child is dead. In any other environment, in any other role, in any other job, anybody would be given a bereavement period, and then it would be expected that they would return to work. But when it comes to influencers and content creators, because a lot of people do not view this as real work, a lot of people are very hypercritical and hyper negative towards content creators and influencers when they feel they shouldn't be posting, or what they feel they should be posting and when, and how they should all of a sudden not display any moments of happiness or any signifiers or wealth, or to celebrate the hard work that they have put in and the monetary gain that they are receiving from their work. And this is because we do not value content creators and influencers. We do not regard, specifically when I say we don't value them, we don't regard what content creators and influencers do. We don't regard it as real work. And that is absolutely rooted in misogyny, but also the perception that they make too much money. And the only way that tracks is if you do not believe what they do is real work. And then there's also some envy and jealousy in that equation. But yeah, this has been a very dark year. A lot of people are unhappy. A lot of people are very miserable. A lot of people are struggling and suffering. And just because they are struggling and suffering, they either believe everybody else should be struggling and suffering, or do not want anybody to show up better than them. Specifically content creators and influencers, because if you lost your job right now and one of your friends got a promotion, would you be like, don't share that? And she posted about it on Instagram or Facebook. Who's still using Facebook? I don't really be on Facebook like that, but yeah, she posted it on Facebook or Instagram, on Threads, on TikTok, or wherever she posted it. Would you hop into the comment section and be like, you shouldn't be celebrating this. This is tone deaf because I just lost my job? No, you wouldn't. I mean, you might if you're not a good person, if you're not a good friend, and yeah, you would post that if you're somebody who is unable to express happiness and joy for other people. But in your seasons of success, in your seasons of winning, do you stop sharing things because other people are suffering? No. So why is that an expectation of anybody else? You know, we are in a very dark time as a country, and I believe a lot of people are taking out their anxieties about the real world and taking that energy into the digital space and are making it a living hell for people to just show up and exist. I've noticed my comments have gotten notably weirder. I've been making more use of the delete comment. I've been making more use of the block button. And while some people are like, oh, you're weak, or it's so annoying, or they hate when influencers and content creators delete comments or block people, that is the only tool available for us to protect ourselves online, because these social media platforms are not protecting us. And because a lot of people do not have the emotional intelligence, they do not have the ability to regulate themselves and their emotions and just block somebody who is irritating them. They have to engage. And so if you are constantly dealing with people who walk around angry at the world and think that you should just lay there and be their punching bag, you would understand it too. So I don't really pay a lot of people dust who get annoyed at influencers or content creators for blocking people or using the delete comment button or deleting comments, because no one, just because somebody is posting on social media, it does not give anybody the right to harass them, bully them, and abuse them. It is not what you sign up for when you post on social media. It's not. And no one will ever get me to believe that psychotic and dysfunctional way of thinking. It is normalized dysfunction. And if you think that, you should not be somebody who is on social media using it in any capacity as a content creator, as an influencer, or as someone who is just taking it as a viewer and somebody who engages. It's a very disturbing mindset. And so a lot of people, however, bring that mindset onto them with social media, that it is okay to bully people because there's no accountability for it, because it's either happening anonymously and definitely happening behind a screen, but their children are seeing this. Their children know what they're doing online because they're procreating. They see the children see their parents being rude to people in real life, no accountability, no apology. They see their parents be rude to people online, and you can't hold people accountable online. And so if we acknowledge children are sponges, what is the next step? If people are not regulating their child's social media use, and they're giving their children smartphones and unfettered access to smartphones, what do we expect to happen? We see trends happen like this, and we won't stop seeing trends happen like this until the parents start parenting. I don't know what has to happen nowadays to get it through people's heads that these social media platforms and these smartphones are ruining your child's, are rewiring your child's brain for the worse. There is no benefit to them having social media or smartphones. Now, I've seen people put up the argument that school shootings are very real and they want to be able to get in contact with their child. I respect that. I understand that. Dumb phones do the same thing. Y'all remember those Nokia flip phones? Y'all remember the Razor phone? I wanted a Razor, a Motorola Razor. I wanted one so bad back in the day. Oh my God, I wanted one so bad. I respect wanting to get in quick contact with your child. You need a phone that texts and a phone that calls. There you go. A dumb phone right there. You got a brick. There you go. If you are worried about your child being bullied, why are you worried about your child being a follower? Why are you trying to raise somebody who is a follower? Why are you trying to raise somebody that doesn't think for themselves? Being a child of immigrants, I think back to all of the things that I missed out on. I didn't go to sleepovers. I didn't have all of the trendy clothes. And I don't think that was so much about being a child of immigrants, at least the trendy clothes and shoes and stuff, so much as my parents, there was just a lot of us. There were 7 of us. My parents are not buying Nikes and Reeboxes. They were hot at the time. Okay, now I'm sure some of y'all are like, Reeboxes? Nobody's wearing Reeboxes, but K-Swisses, Reeboxes, Adidas Sambas. I think those are making a comeback, but those were huge in the day. My parents were not going to get me those clothes. I was not going to get those shoes. I was not going to have those cell phones. I was not going to have the material things. But what I had was a personality. I've always had a very strong sense of self. And as I look to all of my siblings, all of us have the same general groundedness in ourselves. We've always had a very strong sense of self. And so I'm so glad that my parents raised me with that sense of self. And I think in part it came from being immigrants in this country and having to, know who you are and deal with so much. You have to be so resilient, coming here to where you are essentially starting at the bottom or starting with limited resources. You build this level of resilience. You build this level of scrappiness. And I watched my parents work and hustle so hard. And my younger siblings, they were able to get all of the trendy clothes, all the things that basically I would have wanted when I was their age and I couldn't get. They were, sending my younger siblings to private school. So, my younger siblings had a very different experience than me, my older sister, and the sister right after me. However, what all of us developed, in my personal opinion, was a very strong sense of self. And to this day, you can't tell any of us anything. You can't tell me anything. You want to bully me? You're a loser. That's all there is to it. You can never make me feel any type of way about myself. But it was also my parents were like, know who you are, know yourself, know your worth. You can never bully me. My mouth has always been reckless. I was always afraid of being beat up, okay? So in middle school, I weighed like 4 pounds. I was tiny. So these girls who were bullying me in middle school and the boy that was bullying me, I was scared. I came up in a time where if something came out of your mouth, you would have to be prepared to back it up. So while they were being very mean to me and I could tell them to shut the F up, they would probably hit me. I've never been hit in the face, okay? I've never been hit in the face. Can you imagine somebody hitting you in the face? Oh my God. Stressful and scary. But anyways, all of this to say, while I'm watching this trend, it's so disappointing. It is disgusting to see that it is children of that age participating in this trend. But show me their parents. Flip the camera on their parents. Flip the camera on their parents, because I guarantee you, a mean kid, just like I said in the intro, behind every mean kid is a meaner and nastier parent. And their parents is who they got that behavior from. Yes, their brain is being fried by social media and these smartphones. Their brain is legit being hijacked and rewired in a way that is not going to serve them. And now we are seeing this with this Chat GPT generation, where these kids are complaining and struggling to write a 5-paragraph essay. Oh my God, they can't read. Oh my God. And that's what scares me about being a parent sometimes, because if I had a child, they would be great at home. I can mold them. But as soon as I put them out into the world, I got to put my kid out into the world with these dysregulated ass kids who have been addicted to social media and smartphones since they were 3 months old, since they were basically old enough to sit up and have a screen prompted in front of them, their faces, these Coco Melon kids. That's who my kid would have to interface with. Oh, hell no. I would need to homeschool my kid. Yeah. I feel like the only way I could honestly be a parent at this point is if I could homeschool my kid and or send them to a Montessori school. That'd be the only way. But yeah, I don't fault these children. Yes, they are responsible for their own behaviors. And not every single kid with a TikTok account or a smartphone is engaging in this behavior. No, it is just some of these kids. It's not all kids with TikToks and smartphones who are walking around walking around mean and nasty because they have mean and nasty parents. No, the kids who are participating in this trend and who think it is a great idea to bully people, to harass people, not only their own peers, but strangers, perfect strangers on the street, bully them, harass them, and then put it out on social media for billions of people to see, thinking it's a funny little trend, a cute little trend. Flip the camera on that kid And I'm going to show you a parent who they learned that behavior from 100%. And all this trend has done is emphasize and show they are a bully who learned that behavior from their parents. And not only did they learn that behavior from their parents are not parenting. And no one will ever be able to convince me otherwise. When we see kids online who engage in this type of behavior, that is an indicator to me of so many things, but particularly that parent is not parenting. And no one will ever be able to tell me otherwise. Drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for sticking around and watching the video. Have you seen this trend? Has your kid participated in it? Are you taking the smartphone away from your kid and giving them a dumb phone? Are you letting them have social media? Just think about it. And again, don't forget to read those books, The Collapse of Parenting and The Anxious Generation. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. What are you waiting for? I have a 4,000 follower goal by the end of December, and I think we're gonna get to that goal by the end of 2025. So I'm really excited. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I got exciting things coming in 2026. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future because this year was a living hell. However, I am hopeful that the future will be better. So thanks for sticking around. Thank you for following me on this journey. I'm happy that you're here with me, beautiful humans. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, y'all, peace out.